Hello again. I'm Gator McKlusky, and this is the Burt Reynolds story. Chapter 2.
Well, Gator McKlusky is sitting on a stump with the hammer pulled back on the 12-gauge pump. Watching that swamp, looking out for the law. Well, it makes the best horn that you ever saw.
It's a message both to and from the unconscious intended to liberate. Of course, on the other hand, it's the repression, conversely, and you can get the same results by popping your thing.
Burt Reynolds eventually broke into comedic films based on his numerous hilarious guest spots on television variety shows.
I'm sick of him.
In 1972, on The Carol Burnett Show, Burt shined as he showcased many of his talents, from his enormous sex appeal to the unveiling of his comedic sense of timing.
And you know what happens when I get angry.
Your eyes sparkle.
And man must have his mate.
Burt also shared his decent singing voice, along with his ability to command a stage and shock an audience with body-punishing stunts.
I would say more than any movie I ever did. The Carson Show made my career.
In the early 70s, Burt Reynolds appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
I was trying to remember the very first time you were on the show. He was not here. It was in New York, wasn't it?
Burt made such a great impression on Carson that he pulled him aside during the commercial breaks.
You said, would you like to host the show sometime?
Absolutely true.
And I said, like a fool, I said, yes.
Yes, and you did.
No actor had ever hosted The Tonight Show, only comedians. It was quite an honor.
What did your father do?
Oh, a lot of things.
Good. George, you want to comment on that?
Well, he's a...
Nobody cares now.
Through the years, the two developed a special relationship, not unlike the classic comedy duo of Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello.
But I haven't seen you for a long time.
Well, as you can see by my outfit, I'm a doorman at the Manischewitz Winery.
Years later, Burt would claim that he wasn't really himself with Johnny, but that he was playing a character.
The only time that I ever feel that kind of character is when I do The Tonight Show. I have fun with that character.
Look like I'm constipated.
Yeah.
I was so good at taking those pictures. I really was terrific. That was the best thing I did.
Was before the season? Yeah, you take all those?
That is a part of me. I mean, that is a part of my personality. It isn't something that I manufacture.
We'll be back. Try to hold in, Burt. Well, don't start that insane giggle. You've got a reputation of holding. You know, you sit here and giggle like an old lady.
I went on there with that attitude that I was going to have a good time.
In one of the funniest moments in Tonight Show history, Burt broke the sacred ground that Carson had always been accustomed to.
Carson had certain rules, and when I got asked to do his show, he was just certain things Johnny just doesn't allow. I said, okay. He doesn't like to be touched a lot. I said, all right. And don't, muss up his hair and don't screw around with him physically too much. Okay. I said, all right. So I went to the prop man. I said, I want some scissors and some whipped cream. I knew his whole comedy style was Jack Benny. He'd idolized Benny. And he did what we call a Benny. He just looked at the camera, and then he looked at me. I'm embarrassed to say, but I had on these leather pants. He put it all on my legs like that. And then right here he went. The censors couldn't do anything because, there it was, And now this is the genius of Carson, is I pulled his pants wide like that, and I just went like that inside. And as I was going away, he grabbed my hand and he went, just a little more. And went back. Well, that's genius.
Burt's Tonight Show legacy reached an all-time high when Johnny Carson surprised him with this touching tribute to his life story.
Yes, Burt, you were born Burton Wham Bamowski. You earn enough money from your summer job to make a down payment on an IQ. So, it's off to college, where you win a special varsity letter. Yes, we can't tell you what the letter is for, but you are doing really well with the ladies, Burt. All right.
According to Burt, Woody Allen never even spoke to him on the set for the segment in a bizarre comedy, Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask.
All systems on the alert. We're going to try to ball her right there in the car.
A film best known for Gene Wilder's romance with a sheep.
I'm sure that most of you have seen Deliverance, another movie. Shamus, is that it?
Shamus, if you're Jewish. Seamus is the correct pronunciation.
You think you can buy me?
I'll give you 10,000 to come up with the killer or the diamonds.
You just bought me.
Following the success of Deliverance, Burt plays New York private detective Seamus McCoy, a role filled with action and comedy that would become his most successful genre in film.
I never slept on a pool table before.
Well, I told you to put your feet in the side pockets. Keeps them warm, you know?
Oh.
In one of the scariest moments of Burt's long career, he jumped off a cement wall to a tree branch that broke off, sending Burt crashing to the ground.
You could see when I hit the ground how beloved I was by the crew. And I broke a lot of ribs, and that particular stunt really should have killed me.
You did an album?
Did an album, yes.
This is my record.
Everybody was worried about me because I've never sung before.
In November of 1973, Burt released a country music album called Ask Me What I Am.
We only pressed 75 of them.
But I got in there, I was so thrilled with my voice.
You probably saw them at the Kmart, you know? They gave them away to everybody that bought anything over 25 cents. Still got 74 of them.
One song on the album, called A Room for a Boy Never Used, has Burt opening up his heart about his years of trying to adopt a son and getting turned down.
God, you've given me more than I've deserved. But if I might humbly ask, when you're giving out sons, I've got room for a boy.
Years later, Burt was blessed with his adopted son, Quentin, who he loved more than anything.
I think it represents you well. I mean, Frank Sinatra sang My Way, and you sing Let's Do Something Cheap and Superficial.
At no time in my life did I want to disappear into the background of anonymity more than after the shit hit the fan during the filming of The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing.
Now, Burt got caught up in a bit of a murder mystery on the set of his Western, The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing.
I played a train robber who falls for a wealthy woman he kidnaps. British actress Sarah Miles starred opposite me.
Sarah was having an affair at the time of production, and on the night of Burt's 37th birthday, she went to his hotel room.
About 2 a.m., I was awakened by pounding on my door. It was Sarah. She had a bloody nose. She was crying.
Sarah claimed that her boyfriend David had beaten her up, and Burt let her spend the night, but had her leave early so no one would see them leave together.
A minute later, she was knocking on my door again. He's laying on the floor.
Burt grabbed a teamster to go with him as a witness. They found David Whiting dead and then called the police.
Watching the news, and the lead story was a doctor had found a gash on the back of Whiting's head. It seemed everybody was convinced I'd killed him. The press convicted me before there was a trial, before there was even an investigation.
Lawyers postponed the trial, allowing production to complete filming.
What are you showing your death certificate?
Death due to an overdose of barbiturates. Self-induced.
In the end, it was determined that Whiting had died from a drug overdose of Quaaludes.
She used to laugh, Charlie. Black hair. Like a child.
I really believe the movie had one of my best performances, but unfortunately, the negative publicity ruined the picture. People stayed away in droves.
Steven Spielberg's first theatrical feature was to be White Lightning.
He panicked because he'd never shot off the lot. Everything he'd done was on the Universal lot.
After a few months of pre-production, Spielberg quit the film and decided to do the Sugarland Express with Goldie Hawn instead.
You super giant ass.
Burt plays whiskey runner Gator McKlusky in this action thriller, best known for its high-speed, exciting car chases.
It was what you call your basic action-adventure comedy kind of thing.
Now listen, you son of a... Ow! God! Oh, damn it!
Elements of this film might actually remind you a little of Smokey and the Bandit.
Get over to the right a little bit, Junior.
Daddy, my fly's still low.
Junior, if you lose this thing, it's coming out of your paycheck. You know it, don't you?
Let me tell you something, Junior.
You got to ease at the curve, Junior.
If you ever embarrass me like that again...
Well, get after it, Junior.
I'm going to get an axe, and you're never going to have to open your fly again.
Quentin Tarantino was a huge fan of White Lightning and used some of composer Charles Bernstein's scores in his films Kill Bill and Inglourious Bastards.
Only two things in the world I'm scared of. I'm scared of two things? What's that? Women and the police.
It was Burt's stuntman and longtime friend Hal Needham who directed the car chase scenes in White Lightning. As you can see, he had a special talent for this type of action picture.
What happened to you?
In this scene, Gator lies about what happened to him to a young girl who probably never saw Deliverance.
I was trying to save these two buddies of mine from getting knocked up by a homosexual.
This car jump in the film almost took the life of Burt's longtime pal, Hal Needham.
He wanted the barge to be moving. I think that's kind of stupid, Hal, because we'll be on you and you'll fly through the air and we could have the barge setting because we're not going to be on it until you're on it. And he said, no, I want it moving.
The resulting impact was devastating, but could have been a lot worse.
Well, I'll be damned.
Needham was stunned and Burt dove into the water to pull him out of the car. Hal recovered, but it was a scary moment for one of the greatest stuntmen in film history.
And I said, are you hurt at all? And he said, got a little headache, but they gave me some Percodan and I'm really happy.
And I thought it was a good picture.
White Lightning actually did pretty well at the time for a low budget of only $950,000.
It made about $18 million.
If I have any class, any dignity, it came from Dinah Shore.
When Burt Reynolds appeared on the Dinah Shore show in early 1970, he never expected to fall head over heels in love with the television icon.
When she opened the closet, and instead of finding what she needed, she found me. I stepped out, smiling. She started to laugh. We hugged. The conversation flowed as if we were two old friends reunited. I felt a pull on my heart.
The moment was classic television, and Burt decided right then and there to make his move.
I'd like to take you off to Palm Springs, possibly for, you know.
Oh, really? Now?
Well, after the
goodbye,
show,
folks. I hope you enjoyed our show today.
It caught Dinah completely off guard.
She kept saying no to Burt's romantic offer, but he wasn't about to walk away without trying once more.
I dove over the counter, and I crashed through the cooking table. It made a huge noise, an unbelievable mess, and scared Dinah half to death. Dinah, slightly rattled, asked if I was okay. Now I'm really serious, I said. Will you come to Palm Springs? You're insane, she said.
Over the next few years, Dinah opened up many doors for Burt as everyone in Hollywood adored her. Burt got to know Sinatra, Orson Welles, Jack Benny, Groucho Marx. The power couple became a tabloid's dream, landing on the cover of almost every major magazine.
I think some of Dinah's friends thought I might be using her.
She was chastised. I was chastised because she was older than I was.
The press made it taboo, which was bullshit.
She was apple pie in the American flag, and I don't know what I was. Whatever it wasn't good for her.
As the relationship took a more complicated turn, Burt broke up with Dinah in 1975.
Breaking up with Dinah was the hardest thing I'd done in my life. I loved Dinah, but I couldn't help myself. I was surrounded by demands, offers, enticements, and temptations of all sorts.
We broke up the way we got together. Beautifully.
Dinah Shore passed away in 1994 from cancer. Burt took her death very hard and always referred to her as the love of his life.
Whatever is good about me, you made it happen.
I'm saving my love for you.
Mr. Reynolds, what brought you to Tallahassee?
To see you, Mary Jo. I wanted you under this tent desperately.
Originally called The Mean Machine, Burt Reynolds' next film, The Longest Yard, was never meant to be a comedy, but his extraordinary personality led the script to evolve away from that darker tone.
Superstar. I'm a football player who's never been hurt for 8 years. And the reason is that I'm a coward, and I sell out.
How do you think we do against the Cons?
I didn't know the Cons had a team.
Well, they don't.
He tells me to get up a team of inmates. I'd like to play some football. Football. So I go around and try to find the biggest, meanest, rottenest guys I can find.
Sure, I'd like that.
And because of the inmates in his prison, who he was very touched by, which he considered football just a game.
Okay, let's move over to the blocking dummies.
It meant more to them than that.
Shot at Reidsville State Prison in Georgia, the production was facilitated by then Governor Jimmy Carter,
who was so charming and said, now, Bud, I want to tell you, if they take you hostage, I will take your place.
And I thought right then, this guy is either really nice and not too bright, or he's lying. Either way, he's got a great chance to be president.
The film opens with a powerfully disturbing scene as Burt's character, Paul Crewe, becomes physical with his girlfriend.
Get
off of me.
If I mistreat her as badly as it's written, the audience will never forgive me. I was petrified of this scene, especially when I grab her. You want to do this 10 times? You want to do it once. If he does it rough enough, we'll only have to do it once. You know, Cagney hit a gal with a grapefruit today, that would cost you $100,000. From what I did to this girl, it would cost you $200 million.
After another masterful Hal Needham high-speed car chase ends with crew dumping her Maserati in the bay, it's Burt's hilarious drunken encounter with the police that lands him in the big house.
Yeah, look what we got here, a miniature cop.
Burt's time spent on this film helped cement his already negative personal feelings about the prison system at the time.
Well, my attitude is that the prison system doesn't work, which is not a very astonishing attitude, since 70% of the people that go to prison go back to prison.
The inmates at the prison played a large part in making the film, and Burt saw to it that they were fairly compensated.
Did they get a salary for that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Cigarettes.
Old generous Burt, dude.
I made sure that they got paid.
Really?
They won't collect for a few years, but they got paid. They got paid exactly what a Hollywood extra or a Hollywood actor would be paid. I insisted on that.
He broke my fucking nose!
Actor Richard Kiel, famous for playing Jaws in 2 James Bond films, can be seen here struggling to fit the helmet on his enormous head.
He said he was sorry.
Bullshit.
Almost half of the film's runtime was dedicated to the final football game between the inmates and the guards.
I think he broke his fucking neck.
I told you I broke his fucking neck!
Director Robert Aldridge, best known for The Dirty Dozen and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, used an amazing slow-motion technology along with innovative split screens to help tell the story of the epic climactic showdown.
Most football movies look like hell because they look phony. So what we did, we had 5 cameras. We'd run a rehearse play. Then I would go to each cameraman and say, I'm running a naked reverse. Only the cameraman knew it, and then I would call it in the huddle.
Burt and Aldridge worked very closely together on the development of the main character.
Paul Crewe, he's a part of me. I grew to like him.
We're gonna let Bodansky come right through. Nobody touch that big mother.
NFL Hall of Famer Ray Nitschke was definitely the most talented and deadly player on the field for Burt to deal with. Only 1 year out of retirement, Nitschke seemed to really enjoy punishing the star of this film.
Oh, that was Nitschke saying hello to me and stepping on me. Yeah. Which wasn't in the script, by the way.
There were no stuntmen on this film. Burt was in there for all the plays, getting hit from every angle imaginable.
Yeah, I did all the running and all the getting hurt myself.
I think there's a bounty on me of some kind. Every time I go back, I see guys saying, kill, kill, you know, and they dive on me. I don't know what the bounty is. I think it's a carton of cigarettes.
The game was played in real time, and the plays evolved organically as they were not overly scripted.
That was a real pass that I called, and I was so thrilled that I was able to throw it.
The right arm is about 8 inches longer than the left from throwing the ball for 4 weeks. One thing to play a game for an hour and a half, but when you play one for 4.5 weeks, you know, that's a little much.
In this scene, the title of the film is played out perfectly, and perhaps by accident.
I called a tackle eligible. Dropped back to pass. He reached up, nabbed the football, and rumbled down the field with 3 semi-pro players on his back, falling, if you can believe this, on the 1-yard line, the longest yard.
Burt's brother Jim played one of his teammates in the film, and their bond was never clearer than in this final play of the game.
Now, my brother's number is 65. Watch the feet of number 65 and my feet as they touch the ground. When my left foot hits the ground, his left foot hits the ground. When my right foot hits the ground, his right foot hits the ground. That's a brother,
God,
2 brothers. You never saw it before, did you?
At some point during the filming, the producers actually forced the hand of the director to change the ending of the picture.
In the original script, when I go back to get the game ball, it's when he blows my head off.
You love this character so much that if we would have killed him, they would have torn the screen down.
I remember the day Aldridge told me. He said, hell, we're going to have to let you live.
Stick this in your trophy case.
The Longest Yard went on to be one of the top-grossing films of that year and continued to help make Burt an enormous superstar. The media would actually start referring to him as a sex symbol.
I don't think I am a sex symbol, and the people that think I am are only people that write funny articles and they got nothing else to write.
In 1975, the film won the Golden Globe for Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy.
Audiences loved it. Reviewers called it my best role to date.
Burt was nominated for his second Golden Globe as Best Actor, but lost to Art Carney in Harry and Tonto.
The movie itself was probably the most fun I ever had on a film, other than Smokey and the Bandit, because I got paid for playing football, which is what I had always dreamed about.
I want to thank you again for joining me on the second chapter of the Burt Reynolds story. If you're looking forward to Chapter 3, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That means a lot to me. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next chapter arrives. The next chapter is going to cover his most iconic films, Smokey and the Bandit, along with some other films from that time, and relationships. So be sure to leave me comments and let me know if you're enjoying this look back at one of the most iconic actors of all time. Now, needless to say, Burt is my hero, and I would never do anything to disrespect him, and I'm trying to honor his memory as best I can. If some of the information that you're seeing in the documentary seems a little harsh, please understand that most of it comes from his book, so it's told from him, and I'm just trying to tell it in my own unique way. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Gator out.
Watch for live shows and new reviews every weekend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you know when new reviews arrive.